Hello and welcome back. This is Shireen and another demo today using Illustrator, but another fashion-related task. We're going to be creating a color palette and a very, very simple sort of just getting used to working with the swatches panel, adding new color swatches to the panel, and helping to kind of use that eyedropper to sample and edit the colors that you want. So you can see here in my document, I've already got an image up. This is actually a Mother's Day bouquet. But I just want to share, I'm giving a shout out to one of the other websites. It's a color palette generator. It's called Palette Effects, and I'll put the link in the info below. But I could start off, of course, with just my image and whatever image I'd like. I could just one by one kind of sample the colors, but I like to use color generators. There's plenty of apps that do this, plenty of other websites that do this. Color generators scan the document and they help kind of pull the most frequently found colors. So that usually gives me a jump start. So I'm actually going to delete this photo and I'm going to drag and drop a screenshot I took after I ran my bouquet through a color generator. So Palette Effects, and I'll put the link in the info below. We'll notice when I dragged and dropped that we have an X here on that file. That means that it's a linked file. That means that I've now have a link to where the file originally is rather than a copy of the file in my document. So for this case, I'm going to remedy that by clicking on Embed in my control panel. And so now my file is right here in my document. I'm going to use this as my image source, and I'm going to start creating some chips. So a couple tricks here. I can make sort of square, rectangle, circular, whatever shape I would like to represent my chips. But I'm going to show you a trick for how we can duplicate and create a beautiful aligned row of chips really easily. In Illustrator, once you create a transformation, there's a function that repeats that transformation. So I'm going to create my first transformation, which is to hold my Option key down and pull out that duplicate, but I'm also holding Shift so that I align my objects. You can see my smart guides are active. Everything is nice and aligned. So I just move and duplicate and copy, and all of that is happening. That's a transformation. When I go up to Object Transform, I can see that Transform again is Command D. So it looks like this: Command D, Command D, Command D, Command D. Okay, so Command D or Control D for you guys on PCs. So now I'm going to open up my swatches panel. So this is our first time working with the swatches panel. I basically just want to delete the default swatches, and I'm going to replace them with my swatches for my palette. So I'm going to select, other than black and white and none, I use those a lot, I'm going to select all the colors that are in this palette and delete them. I'm going to select my first chip. I'm going to hold down Shift, click to select my last chip. All the chips are going to be selected, and I'm going to throw them away. So now, other than black and white and my basic colors, I've got a nice empty palette ready to start accepting color. So it's going to be pretty easy. Here we go. So I'm going to just select 6 colors that I would like to kind of create a balanced palette. I'm going to start with this beautiful red first. Eyedropper samples the color, and I'm going to go ahead and click New Swatch. I'm going to call it Rose. That's my first color. I'll call it Rose. I'm also going to select my next color. How about this nice deep burgundy? So I'll call this one Plum. And I'm going to select this nice bright green. Fine. How about a yellow for those sunflower? Okay. And let's see how many others. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to pick a couple more. I'll pick a neutral. Blush. Yeah. And then last but not least, let's pick a nice, this salmon color is really nice. Coral. All right. So as you can see here, one by one, I'm bringing my colors in. In my swatches panel, I could either have thumbnail view or list view. You see when I have list view, I've got everything named and ready to go. And so my last step, this is really easy. My first chip is going to be Rose. click on my second chip to select it, choose plum, select my third chip, and so on and so forth. And that's a really quick and easy way. As you can see, if I bring back that original image, pretty big. When I bring back my original image, and again, I'm going to embed it, even if I don't have this image from the color generator, you can see this is a really nice sampling, and I've got my colors now saved. When I save my file save, I can call it Spring Palette and save it. The document now is going to always have these swatches attributed to it, and if I do want to use these swatches for work in another document, so if in another program, like if I work across platforms like to InDesign or Photoshop, I can also go to the side of my panel here and say save the swatch library as ASE. That stands for Adobe Swatch Exchange. So I'm exchanging between programs. So this is the most universal file format to save those files, and you'll look in your wherever you're going to save it. Let me save it to my desktop so I can just look for it right away and find it. You're going to look for something that has that extension .ase, so springpalette.ase. And so now, if I happen to come in and say open swatch library, or rather if I go ahead and close out this document, save, file, save, Command S. If I go ahead and create a new file, I can always go ahead to my swatches panel, come to the side of the panel, or let me get rid of a couple of these come over here to the bottom of the panel where you see sort of it looks like kind of books on a shelf, swatches library menu, or you can come up to the side of the panel, open a swatch library, or you can come under window swatch libraries, and you're going to come over and find other library. It's coming out of my window, but you scroll all the way down to other library, and under other library you'll find Spring Palette ASC. And when you open it, you've got your swatch library with your colors ready to use and start coloring up artwork. Okay, your swatches panel is the default swatch panel that opens up native to every document, but your swatches panel can remain open, and no matter how many documents you have open, that swatches panel is free floating. It's not editable. You see here it shows that it's not editable. If you want to edit this palette, you need to go back and open the original file, and you would have to make edits to the chips in this original swatches panel. This is sort of an archive so that you're able to access these colors, but you're not able to edit them from your swatch library. So this is my swatch panel. Everything's named, ready to go. Swatch libraries, I can open at any time, and that's a quick way to get started with working with color palettes in Illustrator. Hope you leave questions in the comments. Be sure to like, be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.